Hey, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Friday night, June 26, 2020. I forgot that I used to do that. It's been quite a while since I've done the podcast or anything. I honestly didn't even remember the things that I used to do on here. The podcast on normal audio, whatever you want to call it. Also live on YouTube. That's the new way I do things now. Also, right now, if you're watching on YouTube, I apologize for the little bit of delay starting off. I had just a little problem getting the recording started on Anchor. But we are good to go now and start things off. Thank you for tuning in today. And first off, if you are watching on YouTube, hit the like button, the thumbs up, subscribe, click the bell. I think that's what most YouTubers usually say. So you're notified whenever I do a video or do a live stream or anything, go live. And on tonight's show, I just want to talk about the reason that I'm even doing the podcast tonight. One of the reasons I should say is because last night, right after I ended the podcast, I go online and I see some breaking news that Impact Wrestling has fired Tessa Blanchard. So obviously stripping her of the World Championship. Like I said, just a minute or so after I finished the podcast last night is when the news broke. So that's why I didn't have a chance to talk about it yesterday. And so I wanted to do one today to at least talk about it a little bit. Once again, Impact Wrestling has fired Tessa Blanchard. So obviously no longer the Impact Wrestling World Champion. And so far what I have heard is because lately due to the COVID-19, she lives in Mexico, so she was not able to attend the last two sets of Impact tapings. But Impact, what I understand, they wanted her to tape some vignettes hyping the main event for Slammiversary, the world title six-way match coming up. But she did not. And so I guess they decided to terminate her. And so I have no idea what is going to happen now with the main event. There's another wrench. There's another wrench thrown into that main event, but I will get to that a little more later on. I'll talk more news later on in the night in the show. But first, I just want to do a quick recap of Smackdown. And also, it started to storm here a little bit. I heard a little bit of thunderstorm lightning, so hopefully won't be disconnected. Hopefully the signal will stay strong. Hopefully it won't lose power or anything. Just in case if you hear any thunder or anything else in the background. But let's get into tonight's Friday Night Smackdown on Fox. And just let me open up my notes here. First hour was just most of the first hour anyway was the tribute to The Undertaker, his whole career, which we started, of course, the debut of The Undertaker at the Survivor Series, and then finished with this year's WrestleMania, the Boneyard match against AJ Styles, which I mentioned yesterday, or not yesterday, the week before. I don't even remember when I talk about things, but I love that match. I thought it was done very well. Good send-off for the Taker. And so we get that. And then our first match on SmackDown, we got a fatal 4-way. And it is Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Dana Brooke, and Lacey Evans. And the Boss and Hug Connection, Sasha Banks and Bayley are on commentary for this match. And it is Nikki Cross actually getting the win in this one. And pretty good match to open the show, in my opinion. And then we go on. 8-man tag team action is next. We have the New Day and the Lucha House Party taking on Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura, and The Miz and John Morrison. And it is Grand Metalik, pinning The Miz to get the win for his team. And actually, I did miss something in my notes here. I apologize for that, but after the Taker tributes, Corbin gets in the ring and cuts a promo on The Undertaker. I thought this was a pretty good heel promo here. He talks about The Undertaker being good with the owners of the company, and he says, Undertaker, he basically says, you suck. And Jeff Hardy comes and challenges him to a match for tonight. And so we will see that later on. Jeff Hardy taking on King Corbin. And then we get a Braun Strowman promo. He talks about when he was a part of the Wyatt family at the Wyatt compound at the swamp. There's a serpent comes out of the swamp, and then he goes to step on it, and Wyatt stops him and says it's his friend. He gets face to face with the snake, and the snake bites him and bites him, but Wyatt doesn't affect him, doesn't faze him at all, and he sees how Wyatt is. He calls him the devil himself, and Strowman challenges Wyatt to a fight at the swamp. And actually, just moments ago, I got a news alert from the Ringside News app saying that WWE has confirmed the swamp fight, or was that what it's called? Let me see here. Just 1 second. Yeah, they're calling it Swamp Fight for Extreme Rules Horror Show coming up. And obviously that's going to be one of those cinematic matches now. Hopefully that's done well, like some of the others, and not too cheesy, not too stupid, not too silly or anything. But we will see that for the Universal Championship at Extreme Rules. And next up we get Batista's and McFoley's thoughts on The Undertaker. And now it is time for the main event of the evening. Jeff Hardy taking on King Corbin. Hardy gets the win here. Corbin attacks Hardy after the match. And then New Day, Braun Strowman, Matt Riddle get in the ring to make the save. And then they all celebrate in the ring. Undertaker's on the Titantron. Hardy does the Undertaker pose to pay respect to the Undertaker. And SmackDown goes off the air. That was this week's Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Decent show, in my opinion. Nothing really great, but nothing bad either. Only had about an hour's worth of original programming, but I enjoyed the Undertaker tribute. That was fine, in my opinion. But like I said, overall decent show with SmackDown tonight. And let's get into some news real quick. Like I already talked about right off the bat, I wanted to get that Tessa Blanchard being fired by Impact Wrestling. But that's not the only thing that's going to change about the main event coming up at Slammiversary. And Michael Elgin, it was reported that he was suspended for being accused of something with the whole speaking up thing. And he has now been fired by Impact Wrestling. So there are now two wrestlers taken out of that six-way match for the Impact World Championship. Impact, they do have time till Slammiversary to figure something out. It is July 18th on pay-per-view. Are they just going to make it a four-way match for the world title, crown a new world champion? Or will they come up with two new replacements to replace Blanchard and Elgin in the match? We'll just have to wait and see. Definitely a pretty chaotic time in the world of pro wrestling right now. It has been for a while, COVID-19, and now the whole speaking up movement. And just some Velveteen Dream news. Earlier, I just seen where he could be close to being fired by WWE, and then just a little bit ago, it came out in the news that he was in an automobile accident earlier today, and he was released from the hospital, but the extent of his possible injuries were not made known. So hopefully it's nothing too serious. But like I said, there was a story about him that came out a little while back, sending some inappropriate pictures to underage girls. And then today it was reported that him may be being released soon by the company. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there as well. And there's supposedly an anonymous WWE superstar that linked a tell-all email putting the company on blast. And see here, Paige has commented on the speaking out allegations against her family. It just came out a couple of days ago. Her mother, Saraya Knight, leaving the wrestling business. It's just very unfortunate about all of these accusations. And WWE is making plans for an event to be in front of real fans once they're able to, but who knows when that's going to be, and who knows what it's going to be like, or how many fans will be allowed in the arena, or what the capacity will be at the time, 50% or whatever. I hope so soon. I miss going to live wrestling shows. It's been quite a while since I've been to one, or it's been quite a while since anybody's been. Well, I take that back. Some indie promotions have started running again, and but it still might be a little while before things fully get back to normal. And Travis Banks has been released from his NXT contract, I see here on Ringside News. And unfortunately, some sad news. I apologize for that. Bullet Bob Armstrong, reportedly his health is failing during his cancer battle. Just want to wish him nothing but the best, to the WWE Hall of Famer, Bullet Bob Armstrong. And just scrolling here, another release I saw earlier today, Ligero has been released from NXT due to the speaking out movement. Once again, another one. And Jamie Noble is another person in WWE that has tested positive for the coronavirus. And it is being said that WWE owns the rights to Eddie Guerrero's image. And also, more Tessa Blanchard news. She reportedly already has interest outside of Impact after being fired from the promotion. So, as everybody knows, her father, Tully Blanchard, is in AEW right now. Will she be heading to AEW in the future? Who knows? I wouldn't doubt it, to be honest. It could happen. I think she would be a great addition to the AEW women's division. Not only that, but any division. Put her in with the guys too, just like Impact did. The first ever woman to be a world champion. But unfortunately, to try to run the whole COVID thing and now her being fired from the company has now came to an end. And so that's about all I have for today. But before I go, I have some plugs. Just like I mentioned yesterday, I thinking about bringing back Throwback Thursday, TBT, a podcast I used to do back in the day where I talk about a past wrestling show and maybe a new idea of talking about an old wrestler from the past, talk about some of their great moments, great matches, things like that. If you think that's a good idea, or if you have any suggestions of shows or wrestlers I should talk about, you can leave them in the comments or 360 Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com, the email. Or if you have any other questions or suggestions, you can email 360 Wrestling Podcast or gmail.com. Or you could message me on Instagram, 360 Wrestling Podcast. Or I think that's about it. Oh, the Facebook page. Yes, 360 Wrestling Podcast, the Facebook page. Once again, I'm out of practice. I'm not used to everything just yet. Done 3 shows in a row now, and hopefully we'll be doing more soon, and hopefully I'll get better, I'll improve, and the shows will get better, and we'll have more to talk about, hopefully better news to talk about than we have been lately. But thanks for tuning in to either the podcast or on YouTube, listening or watching, whatever you did. It's appreciated. And until next time, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.